Hi there! You're about to listen to a vintage episode of the Under the Microscope podcast. While the content is still as relevant and as interesting as when it was recorded, our webpage has changed. You can now find us at thesciencetalk.com/real-scientist-nano. Welcome to Under the Microscope. This series is brought to you by the Real Scientists Nano team. Our goal is to provide a platform where scientists can communicate their work and interact with the public. Hi everyone. Today we have with us Niklas Friedrich, who is a PhD student at a research institute in Spain called NanoGUNE. Hi Niklas, how are you?
Hi, yeah, I'm very good. Thanks. How are you?
I'm good, excited to know about your research. So let's start by understanding your research. So could you explain your work to us in super simple words, please?
Well, yes, of course. So what I do is I work with molecules, and the molecules are particular because they are all flat. And what I actually do is I first make chemistry with them, trying to get some molecules that you can only get via a very special process that we use. It's called the on-surface synthesis. So we use small molecules, evaporate them on a metal surface, and then heat that surface to induce a chemical reaction. And then these molecules, they are mostly made out of carbon. So they are one atom layer thick, and therefore we call them nanographenes or graphene nanoflakes, graphene nanoribbon, because they are all made up out of this hexagon type carbon rings. And then I investigate how they behave electronically, if they have magnetism. I do transport experiments through them, and all of this I do with a so-called scanning tunneling microscope, which is a very, very powerful tool that I can use to investigate single molecules. So I really take a look at these single molecules and check them there if at one specific edge, for example, it is magnetic.
Okay, so from synthesis to analyzing and
To
experimenting to
yes.
characterization, everything that you do.
Exactly.
Okay.
In some cases, even from the design, that we start off and say like, okay, we would like to design this molecule, and then we talk to chemists that are collaborating with us and say, hey, we would like to come up with this structure. Can you synthesize that molecule? And they can provide, if we are lucky, that molecule, then we deposit, do the synthesis and characterization. Yes.
Okay, all right. So it sounds like there is a lot you can tell us when you're taking over the Twitter accounts. What can the followers expect in the week that you will be taking over the Real Scientist Nano Twitter account?
Yes, well, of course, I will be talking a lot about my research, starting with the very basics. I will introduce the various techniques that I'm using. So I already mentioned the scanning tunneling microscope, which is part of the scanning probe microscopy family, so to say, where there's also atomic force microscope, the scanning quantum dot microscopy, to give some examples, and I will mention them and give like the basics so that you understand what I'm talking about. There's also some other requirements that we can work with at precision. I just said that we can take a look at different parts of one molecule. And in order to achieve that, we need an ultra-high vacuum chamber. We need very good damping mechanisms. We need cryogenics because we work at liquid helium temperature. So all of that I will also mention a little bit. And then, of course, I will go into the science. I will talk about magnetism in graphene nanoribbons and graphene nanoflakes. But I will also talk a little bit about meta science topics, like what do I do all day? What are my particular working conditions? What are working conditions in science in general? How do I feel like it's the work-life balance between my science and the rest of my life going? And also mention a little bit what I think about, for example, being politically active and speak out as a scientist, and what you can do, what you should do, what you should avoid. And
Okay, so basically not just the science, but also how is it like to be a scientist, your environment, and how one should conduct themselves. And from your point of view, it's a mixed bag that you're going to
Yes,
talk to us
yes.
about.
I'll
Okay.
try to get the whole picture and probably will fail and miss out on a lot of stuff because I tried to make the scope so big, but I'll give it a shot.
Well, if whatever you can't cover, you can always come back on the account in the future and take it from where you left off and speak about the topics which you wanted to but didn't have the time or the capacity to do it. Um, Excellent. Thank you very much, Niklas. Looking forward to having you on Real Scientist Nano. There's going to be quite a lot of information coming our way. So thank you very much for taking over the account and thank you very much for
Yes, I'm
speaking
looking
with
forward
us.
to it. Great, thank you.
Thank you for listening. To know more about us, please visit our website, realscientistsnano.org, and follow us on Twitter at realsci_nano.